Hi everyone! Welcome to the very first video of my new live series, Live Magic with Lauren M. So to start off, my name is Lauren Montesano. I'm 23 years old, I live in Chicago, and I own a princess company called Princess Party Chicago. And I've been working for the company for about 4 years. Before I owned the company, it was owned by someone else. I'm a theater major with an entrepreneurship minor. I worked at Disney for a little bit. I did the Disney College program where I was a character performer. Those are just kind of some little fun facts about me. So I decided to make this video series a while ago. It's been a really long time coming. When my friend Sarah first joined the community, there weren't really many people around, but we have both noticed since joining this princess community how much help it's been to hear from other people going through the same situations, and especially for those new people who are starting out who don't know about all these companies and where to get costumes and wigs and all that. I thought that I would help out. I believe that kids everywhere deserve to have like the best characters possible, and I thought that maybe if I could share some of my expertise that can help some of you guys all across the world. I don't think that I have the most knowledge on these subjects. I don't think that I know better than everyone else. In fact, I encourage anybody who's watching this, if you can answer a question your own, or if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. If you want to just type out your ideas and thoughts on some of these questions, feel free. Some questions I might even get stumped on. I might not understand what the question is, or I might not know the specific commissioner that someone's asking about. So if somebody asks a question and you want to put your own take on it, please comment. So I have only really been around in this community at least for about a year. However, I have done a lot of research. Before I took over the company that I work for now, it was about 2 years in the making. I really did have that time to research, figure out what the community is like, figure out the best costumes and wigs and all that stuff. So I've done a lot of research, and I'm just kind of here to share that with you guys. So today, the way that all my videos are going to run, I did post on Instagram a few days ago for people to send me questions about costumes. This video is just about costumes. If you ask me any questions about wigs or makeup or anything like that, I will not be answering those, just because I do want to come up with more topics for more videos. So if I answer those questions here, then it'll kind of defeat the purpose of me having another video down the line. So today I'm just answering questions about costumes, and even if I have a positive experience with one company doesn't mean that everyone will. This is just what I've experienced, what I've gone through, what I have noticed throughout my time buying costumes. I have a paper here. I printed out all the questions so that I wouldn't forget them, and I even kind of answered them a little bit just because I don't want to send wrong information. If anybody ever sends me a question that I don't know the answer to, I promise you that I will try the best of my ability to find the question's answer. I don't care if that means talking to other people, researching it, sending a commissioner a question. I will always try to answer that to my best of my ability. So if you have questions about pricings of things and stuff like that, I will definitely always message commissioners to find that out for you. I love doing research. I love learning more about the community. So if I don't know the answer to a question, I want to learn it anyway. So I'm first going to answer all the questions that people sent in, just because I don't want to lose my train of thought. I don't want to forget about anything that somebody asked me. I don't want to skip anything. So I'm going to answer those questions first. And then after that, I'm going to go back and I'm going to read all the comments and check to see if there are any questions related to costumes in there. Okay, so the first question that I had was, when buying online, what are good things to look for in a potential costume? So I think this is probably like a huge thing that everybody needs to kind of understand. So the things that I first off the bat can think of is, the first thing I think of is fabric. So sometimes it's hard to tell what a fabric is from online, and sometimes they don't even list what the fabric is, which could be the problem. But I try to stay away from the really shiny fabrics, especially if they're pictured in the picture that they're trying to sell it with. If it's super shiny, it's not going to be a good material. Yeah, like there are some fabrics that are satin and stuff like that, which are nice fabrics, but especially in pictures with this business, we take lots of pictures. So you don't want a super duper shiny fabric, because then in all the pictures it's going to be blown out and it's not going to look like it's great material. It's going to look more like a Halloween costume. So the second thing that I always look at are the reviews. So whether you be buying it from somebody off of Facebook, whether you're buying it somebody off of Instagram, Etsy, Amazon, wherever, I always make sure to look at reviews. So one thing that I personally like to do is I like to look for the reviews. So let's say for example you're buying something off of Etsy. So then you go and you look at the reviews, and I always look for the person's name, and this is a little stalkerish, but this is the best way to find out if the costumes are the best, is I look for the person's name who posted the review. Then I go on Instagram and I search that person's name like crazy. I try to find this person to see them post all of their pictures. Because sometimes in reviews, people will post that they absolutely love something, that it's the best thing they've ever seen, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes they just don't want to be mean, so they won't be 100% honest with it. So if you can find that person's Instagram or Facebook or company or whatever it may be, they will definitely be more honest on there. And my favorite thing to do is going on the company or the commissioner's Instagram page and then looking at who has tagged them in pictures, and then I go and scroll through that person's Instagram and I look at all of the different pictures, because then you could get pictures of the front, you can get pictures of the side, of the back, you could see it on different body types. I know that that's a really big thing that you want to do. You want to find someone who has similar body type to you and seeing what it looks like on you, just because different body types fit different costumes, whether you have a short torso, a long torso, how tall you are, everything like that. So then the third thing that I look for is the size range. So I'm a big person that likes to use corsets. I don't really like costumes that are just zipper just because they don't fit a lot of girls. Since I own a princess company, I do have lots of girls of lots of different shapes and sizes that I want to fit. So I always look for a corset. However, if you're just a cosplayer and it's just going to be you wearing that costume all the time and nobody else, then you might not want the corset as much. However, the corset gives you more of a size range in case you accidentally send the wrong measurements. So if you accidentally send the wrong measurements, if there's a corset, at least that'll cover that inch or two that you might have messed up with. So I always look for corset backs. They're also a lot sturdier. Zippers break a lot, and I'll be talking about that a little bit later. So then the next thing that I look for is photo consistency. I know that there are some companies where one picture, the first picture that they post of their costume does not look the same as the last picture that they post. So you always want to check on photo consistency because some companies, maybe the first time they made it, they were super particular and they made sure to try really careful to make sure everything's perfect. But then when they start making it 2 or 3 years later, they don't care as much and it doesn't look the same. So you always want to make sure that the costume looks same every time, because you don't want to risk getting something that doesn't look like what you paid for. Okay, so the next question that I have is best places to find costumes and to make sure that they fit. So the best place that I like to find costumes is Etsy. That's where you can find the most commissioners. However, it is hard to decide which commissioner is the best on there, especially because there can be so many of them. So I will personally just say right now where I get my costumes from. Most of my costumes are from Angel Secret, from Brittany Ray Designs. I just got one from Pixie Dust Boutique, and I also have some from Secret Honey. So if you go through my pictures, every time that I post a picture of anything ever, I tag the person that I get the costumes from. So if you ever wonder where I get a costume from, it's right there on the picture. And then you can follow it to their Instagram and you can see where you get all the pictures. I just personally have done lots of research and looked through a bunch of stuff to figure out which costume I like from each shop, and it's the most cost efficient. I see that someone's mentioning Neverbug. Neverbug in my head is kind of the end-all be-all of costumes, but they are also expensive and take a long time to come in. So for that, of course, I would love to have a Neverbug gown. At one point in my life, you can find them on Etsy. They're Neverbug Creations. As much as I would love to have a costume from them, $1,000 is just a little much for me, especially when they're being sent out to parties every weekend. So I definitely look at it being cost efficient too, depending on how often the character goes out, how many girls have to wear that, so how many size ranges it has to fit. So then the other places that I mentioned were Secret Honey. So Secret Honey, I absolutely love them. They look exactly like the parks. They're just really well made. They last really well. The only problem with them is they're only one size. So a lot of the time when people order them, they're way too small. They come in very, very small sizes, which is unfortunate. I try not to buy too much from them just because I want to make sure that my costumes fit an array of girls. But that's where I get my Rapunzel, and that's where I got my Aurora. So both of them, they are different sizes. The Rapunzel is very small. I actually had to lose some weight in order to fit into Rapunzel. So if you buy from Secret Honey, you definitely want to go to hannahcastlestore.com and look at your measurements, because she has all the measurements listed on there. So that brings me to the next thing on how to make sure that the costumes fit. So one thing that you always have to make sure to do when you measure yourself is get somebody else to help you. Measuring on your own is always going to mess up. You're always going to bend a certain way and make it stretch out somewhere and everything like that. So you always want to get somebody else to help you measure. One thing that you want to look up is what type of measurement system they use in the country that your costume is being made in. So for example, Angel Secret, when I send my measurements there, I always send them in centimeters. I've never personally had a problem with them. However, I have heard of people sending them in inches and it being way off, just because they do have to convert it, and if it does get confusing, I just try to cut down the problems as much as possible. So look up what system is being used in the country you're getting your dresses made in and send them your measurements in that system. Okay, so favorite places to buy from and what you look for. So I know I just listed some of the different companies that I buy from, but I'm going to specifically list right now where all my costumes are from. So Brittany Ray Designs, so my Rapunzel, one of my Rapunzels are from her, the one with, it's a little longer of a torso, it's a little shinier fabric, it's more of a designer Rapunzel. I don't really send it out to parties much just because it's so beautiful and I don't want it to mess up. But every once in a while, the picture that I posted today is of that one. My Belle dress, oh, my Belle is my favorite dress, and that one is also from her. My Tinkerbell is also from her. I've only ever had one Tinkerbell, and that's from her recently. And then I have a Jasmine and a Cinderella that I've ordered from her that will be here next month, so I'm very excited for that. So the next one, I don't personally have one from her yet, but on Etsy there is a shop called Mom2RTK. So the pictures that I posted of me in my Town Belle costume, that costume is owned by Chicago Princess Sarah, but I have posted pictures of myself in that one. Mom2RTK, also amazing. I love the way that the Town Belle fits. Sarah sent her measurements and she did it perfectly. I ordered my Dorothy dress from her, and so that again will also be here about next month. The next one, like I said, Angel Secret. I have a lot of Angel Secret dresses. So these are all my Angel Secret dresses: Cinderella, Anna, Elsa, Moana, Elena, Ariel's teal dress, Ariel's town dress, and my Ariel shells. So all those are from Angel Secret. They look exactly like the Parks in my opinion. However, every once in a while, the fabric is thinner and it rips easier. The corsets also are not steel boned, so if you do want boning, then you don't want to buy any Angel Secret costumes, but that's just a personal preference. If you want to look up all of those dresses that I just listed on my Instagram page, those are all from Angel Secret. So Secret Honey, I mentioned Aurora and Rapunzel are both from there. The pictures that I post of those two most of the time are from Secret Honey, and then I also ordered a Cinderella dress from them recently. So Secret Honey, you cannot buy from them if you are in the U.S., so you have to buy them from a middleman. So the people that I always hear that people sell from, so there's Hannah Castle Store, Lemonade Central, Celeste, and Disney Secret Honey Shopper. So I personally get all mine from Disney Secret Honey Shopper. I tag her in all of the pictures that I post of myself in those Secret Honey dresses if you want to go and find her. But all those other ones that I listed are other people that sell. I've never personally worked with any of them, so I can't recommend any others other than Disney Secret Honey Shopper. She usually ships out the dresses within 1 to 2 weeks, and then it gets here in 1 to 2 weeks. But like I said, those always have one measurement and are smaller sized, so you want to be careful when you order those. But Hannah Castle Store does post all of her measurements up on her website if you want to check out those measurements. Okay, so then the next one is Pixie Dust Boutique. So Pixie Dust Boutique is a Etsy seller, and she sells very, very well high-end costumes. That's where I got my new Snow White from. So that's the first dress I've ever had of hers, and it is so incredibly made. The fabric is thick and sturdy. She adds snaps and zips everywhere to make sure that it fits an array of girls, and is always so easy to put on and off. There are a lot of accessories to that one, snapping here and velcroing here and all of that stuff, but it's very well made and well crafted. And then I also have an Ariel coming from her. She doesn't have a lot available because she's very, very popular, so you always have to be checking out her Etsy shop every once in a while to see if she has any available. She does have some available February 1st if anyone is interested in getting one from her. So then the next shop that I've gotten a lot of costumes from isn't really a shop, but it's Amazon. So when I first started working for Sarah, she had some Amazon dresses, and that's where I kind of bought some of my first cosplays as well, simply because it is Prime shipping. So the place that I get it from is called Angelacious. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that, but it's spelled Angelaicos. So if you search that on Amazon, it comes up with a shop, and I really do like their costumes. It is that satiny, shiny fabric that I don't think is as high quality, but they do fit an array of sizes. Even though it is a zip back, it somehow just stretches and fits a whole bunch of sizes. I've had a Cinderella from them, an Aurora from them, my pink Ariel dress was from them, we had an Elsa from them, we had a couple Bells that we ordered from them. So if you are trying to find cheaper costumes that will get to you fast, I would very highly recommend them. I feel like if you just need a costume for one weekend, if you randomly decide to be a character one weekend, it will get you in 2 days because it's Prime shipping, and it's also kind of cheaper. Okay, so then the next question I got was my favorite costumes to wear and why. So my favorite costumes to wear, I have a lot of them. So Snow White I love because it's the newest one that I got. My newest one I always want to wear all the time. So I would say Snow White right now. Aurora. My Aurora is Secret Honey, and Aurora fits me better than any of the other costumes I've ever owned, and it's not even made to my measurements. Merida, just because Merida is basically a nightgown, and it's really easy to wear. And then I think Anna's the same way, just because it covers so much. I usually wear my leggings underneath it, so it's super comfortable. Okay, so the next question was hardest and easiest to put on. So I would say the hardest costumes that I have to put on are Snow White and Cinderella, and that's just because they have a ton of accessories. And I saw somebody message asking about accessories. I can go over accessories as well. So Snow White and Cinderella, just because they have so many accessories, it takes me so long. You have to corset up the back. With Snow White, you have to Velcro in the collar. You have to snap on the cape, then the wig, then you have to put the headband on. I have shoes for her, I wear tights, and then I wear bloomers, and then it's just a lot of steps to put her on. And then Cinderella, the same thing. You have to corset up the back, you have to put the wig on, you have to put the headband on, the necklace, the earrings, the gloves. And then I also wear tights and bloomers with her as well. And then my easiest to put on are Merida and Anna, just because they are the easiest. You just kind of throw them on. Neither of them have corsets on them. It just zips right up. And, well, Merida just goes over your head like a nightgown, so that's really easy. Okay, so the next question is, how do I wash my dresses? So this is going to sound terrible, but I don't really wash my dresses. Up until now, when one of my dresses gets old, I've just been upgrading them. I've gotten to the point that I have some pretty high quality stuff, so I probably will have to start washing them soon. So I have seen some people talk about spraying their costumes with alcohol. Literal alcohol. Some people, they say they just find really cheap vodka and they just put in a spray bottle and they spray it all over their costumes. My friend Becky, her Instagram name is Sprinkle Dust Cosplay. She said she did this and it worked out perfect. She said that she was worried that it was going to smell like alcohol, and it didn't smell like alcohol at all. I have yet to try it just because I'm nervous. So that's an option. Some people, for stain removers, people always say not your grandma's stain remover. People say that they just spray that on, leave it on for a few minutes, and then it comes right off. Some people say for the smelly armpits part is that they put baking soda on it. I think they spray the not your grandma's stain remover on and then put baking soda on top. Don't put them in the washing machine. Don't put them in the dryer. Just don't risk it, even if it does say that it's machine washable. Same thing with dry cleaners. I don't really trust the dry cleaners just because they're so expensive and intricate costumes. I wouldn't trust it. So just doing some laundry detergent in your sink or in your bathtub, I think that would just work out just perfectly. Like I said, if it's a really, really set in stain, you probably want to get that, not your grandma's stain remover. But other than that, for light wear, if you just want to put it, like I said, in your bathtub or in your sink and just put some laundry detergent in there. The Storytime Princesses said there are costume sprays that are alcohol based and they smell great. So I guess I'll have to try that one. And then PK Cosplay 99 said that she puts her gowns in the bathtub and hand washes them. And those are both two things that I've heard a lot. Just really researching the fabric too, and whether it can touch cold or hot water, or what kind of stain removers you want to use for those. Okay, so then The next question is, for a young company, do you recommend tail or dress for Ariel? So for that, I would 100% say tail. And I know there are a lot of companies that say they don't do the tail because they're worried that people are going to see their feet, or because it's harder to walk in them, or because it's cold in them. And I know this is kind of a hot button topic because people always talk about whether you should get a tail or not. I would 100% say get a tail. And the reason that I say that is because the entire time that I've worked for this company, it's been 4 years. I think for the first 2 years, we didn't even have an Ariel dress. And I think maybe like 5 times ever have people asked for not the tail for Ariel. For events, we always say the dress just because it's hard to walk around at a huge event in a tail. But we've always used the tail. Honestly, I would just suck it up and go in the cold with the tail. Try to get some bodysuits to wear under when it's cold out. One thing that I do is I wear green socks underneath so then the kids can't see my feet. I got my tail made from a company that used to be on Etsy, but now I think they're just on eBay, and they're called Sparkle Me Gorgeous. And I had them do a double layer of tulle. And I know some companies just tell the kids that it's a skirt. I've always told the kids that it's my real tail, and I think I've only been called out once. And I think the person who called me out, she said her dad told her that I wasn't real. The 5 times I think that people have asked for the dress is just because they wanted the more modest look, and it wasn't because they liked the dress better. It was because they didn't want a girl at their party with their boobs out. So yeah, the tail is definitely more popular. Okay, so the next question I had was the worst costume experiences. Fortunately, I've been very lucky, and I don't think I've ever ordered something, knock on wood, that has come to me that wasn't what I ordered or that I wasn't happy with. But that's just because, like I said, I always look at tons of reviews. I look up people's Instagrams. I look at people's company pages. I do lots and lots and lots of research before I look and buy a costume. So I don't think I've ever gotten a costume that is completely off. I think one time I ordered a Moana from Angel Secret and it was too big, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I just added, I had my performer, Chicago Princess Robin, add a snap on the skirt, and I had her add some straps on the top, but that was it. During a party, the only problem that I've ever had is the zippers snapping, and that's why I said I recommend corset backs. One time I was on the way to a party and my Elsa zipper snapped on the back. Luckily, I was close enough to the house that I could go back and get some pins and pin myself back in. But I'm pretty sure that's it. We've had them snap before. One time our Belle dress snapped and we couldn't get a new one, so every single time that Belle went out, she had to get sewn into the dress. That's why I just say to just get corsets, or if you get zippers that are those invisible zippers, those really small ones, just go and get them replaced. Go to a seamstress, have them rip out the zipper, put in a new one. It's really not that hard for them to do. You really want those big sturdy zippers, especially when they're holding everything in front of a bunch of kids. Next question was, how do I upkeep my dresses? So the way that I don't really upkeep them. I pay my performer, Chicago Princess Robin, to do it because I hate sewing. So if there's a hole, obviously just sew it. It's really easy. Even if you want to learn how to sew online, it is really easy. I'm just lazy. Adding boning, if you want to find cheaper costumes and get some boning in it. If you want to try and find someone who can add boning, I'm sure someone like Brittany from Brittany Ray Designs would be able to do that. She has steel boning. I'm sure she could throw in boning for a costume for you if you want. And then also spot cleaning, like I said, the Not Your Grandma's stain remover. If it's mud comes out really easy. If you ever get mud on the bottom of your dress, just wait for it to dry, scratch it off. So if you take a toothbrush and you scratch off the mud, a lot of it dries and you can just get it right off, and then put it in your sink or your bathtub with some laundry detergent and just kind of gently rub it back and forth. The mud comes right off. It's super simple. So that's one of the biggest things that always happens to gowns, and it's also really easy to fix. So just so y'all know that. The next question was, should I buy my own dress or do it myself? Figure out how to make the costume yourself. It really depends on how good of a seamstress you are. I've noticed that parents like the costumes that look like the parks. They like the costumes that look like the movies. And so I think the one problem with the do-it-yourself costumes is sometimes they have to find lace that doesn't quite fit, or they can't find the right color. But if you're fine doing your own design on the costume for your party princesses. For cosplay, I love the people who do it themselves. I envy those people who are able to do that because they get that one-of-a-kind gown and it just looks spectacular. But I say when doing princess parties, you want to stick more to the parks or for the movies. I do know plenty of companies who have their own specific designs, and they're so incredibly beautiful. I just worry personally, since there is so much competition in Chicago, that people are going to want the parks dress more and they're going to go to a different company. But like I said, it depends on what kind of seamstress you are, how good you are at making costumes. I took a costume construction class in college, and it was not easy. I remember wanting to cry many times, and that was just making like a pillowcase dress. And it was just like, it was so hard, and it's so hard to figure it out. But if you have the patience and the time and the energy, I would say go for it. You probably will save some money in the long run, and also you might be able to start selling your dresses too. Yeah, so I think those are all of the questions that I had. Another thing that I wanted to go over was like undergarments that I wear. Corsets are not something that I wear. However, I hear that a lot of people wear corsets. So a lot of people, and I bought one and I wore it for about 5 minutes to try it on, and the next day my ribs hurt. So I don't know if I just have very sensitive ribs or if I tied it too tight or what I did, but it's made me nervous to ever want to wear it to a party. But some people like to wear corsets every time under their costumes. If you wear the corsets underneath, it really will slim you down. And not only that, but it'll make your costume lie flatter. So I know a lot of people who do that. I almost always wear tights to parties too. I wear dancer tights just because they are very, very thick and they don't run very easily, and it just makes your legs look overall smooth. The only time that I don't wear tights is when I'm doing a long outdoor event in the summer, just because I don't want to add that added heat to me. I also wear bloomers. So the bloomers that I got are from Frenzy Universe, I think is what it's called, and they're called petty pants. And I wear the ones, they look like the ones that they have in the parks, but really any bloomers will do. I always do that because when you're spinning, I know that I've been to events before where I've seen my performer moving around and all of a sudden their skirt goes up too high and you see a little farther up than you want to. Definitely if you're not going to wear bloomers, wear shorts, wear something. Do not just wear underwear underneath your skirt just because you don't want kids to see anything that they shouldn't be seeing. Yeah, so those are like the main undergarments that I always use. I always wear character shoes. Character shoes are the most comfortable. Character shoes are the most sturdy. They're made to be danced in. They're made to be worn a lot. You can also paint them if you want to find some paints that are good for leather or good for fabric. I would always recommend putting on some paint. And if anybody wants some shoe bows to put on there, I also make some shoe bows. This week I'm selling them for only $5 each with $5 shipping for up to 6. So if any of you want shoe bows, you can message me and I can ship them to you. Yeah, so now I'm just going to go through all the comments. Did you ever make your own costume? I don't believe I've ever made my own costume. Okay, the closest that I've come to making my own costume was one time I bought a very tight pencil skirt with mermaid print on it, and I bought green tulle skirts and I sewed them in, and I actually wore that a few times. Didn't last very well. I ended up putting a different tail underneath it and wearing it double layered. I make a lot of my accessories though, so my Moana crown and wrists and anklets I've made. I make my shoe bows. I made the hat. Well, I just added ribbon to the hat of my Jane costume. I made the little tie on my Jane costume. I think that's it. I like to make accessories. I like finding accessories online and saying, I think I could do that. But costumes, I'm just not ambitious enough for it. I've also painted my Ariel shells too. Do you have a nail polish rule under costuming for your performers? That's a good question. I want to, but I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do it. I know that the parks always makes girls, you're only allowed to have natural looking colors or French tips. Costume accessories. So yeah, so let me think about all the costume accessories that I have. My favorite place to get costume accessories is Royal Enchantments. I have their snowflakes, I have their Cinderella earrings, I have their Ariel earrings, and I have her Cinderella necklace. Oh, and I have the hair clip for Anna from her as well. I have a lot from her. I think she has great prices. She ships so fast. She's very communicative. and all of her stuff is great. There was one time that there was a problem with one of my earring, and she just sent me new ones. So I would highly recommend getting any accessories from her. Also, Fairy Tale Wigs. I know that they go back and forth on whether they're even offering accessories. But my Aurora crown and necklace are from there, as well as the Belle earrings and little hair jewelry that I have are also from Fairy Tale Wigs. As well, I also have the Rapunzel crown and their Elena crown. I'm trying to think of what other accessories there are. I make shoe bows myself if anybody wants them. I know that there are quite a few places that make shoe bows, so there's lots of places that you can find them. And then I also make my own Moana crown and accessories. I think that pretty much covers all the accessories that are used. I love accessories so much. I love how much it adds to the costume. We used to not have a necklace or earrings for Cinderella, and now that we do, I'm just like, oh yeah, that looks like Cinderella. And like I said, a princess wouldn't be wearing the same thing every day. We don't wear the same things every day. However, I think when kids see them wearing the same earrings they saw them when they saw them in the parks, they're like, oh my gosh, it's you. And I think that just really adds to it. So finding the right accessories can really make or break the outfit as well. If you're not able to afford a really highly made dress, if you add some good accessories in there, they're going to look great. Oh, and then I also have, I forgot about the gloves. So gloves, I have Cinderella gloves that came with the Cinderella dress from Angel's Secret. Well, I had to pay extra for them, but they both came with them. And then the Belle gloves that I have also came with the dress that I had. You can search on Amazon for gloves. They can be very hard to match color-wise. The next question I had was costume storage. All of my costumes in their own closet. So they're all hung up. Different dresses are hung up different ways. A lot of the times, if a skirt is really heavy, I'll just bend them over one of those hangers with the bar at the bottom instead of clipping them. Sometimes the clips can rust or they can rip or anything like that. So I would hang your skirt over. And then I know a lot of the times I'll take the sleeve of costumes and put it through the hook at the top. That stops them from falling off a lot too. And then all of my accessories, they have their own drawer, and all my jewelry are in a little bowl and a dish on my shelf. The hoop skirts, I use a 6 hoop from Amazon most of the time. A lot of my costumes, my Belle, my Cinderella, my Anna, I wear the huge 6 hoop skirt, and it was only $20. It doesn't last very long, but it's only $20, so I think it lasted about 4 or 5 months, so I guess it's a pretty decent amount of time. And then I also have a huge crinoline that I got from a prom shop close by, and that one isn't super big, so that one's nicer. If I do want to fit in small corridors, I think I'll probably use that for my new Cinderella, just because I don't like Cinderella being as big as she is right now. And then I also have a pink little small crinoline for Aurora and a purple one for Ariel to contrast with the teal. I get all my crinolines off of Amazon other than the one from the prom shop. So if you ever wanted a link to those, you can just message me. I can see if I can look them up and send them to you. How do I deal with tattoos? For small tattoos, I literally just say to put on a Band-Aid. To me, I never want makeup because I don't want makeup near the costumes. If you see the collars of any of my any of my costumes, you'll see all the makeup on there, and I don't want them on the sleeves. I don't want them anywhere else on the bodice. So I always say, like, some people have like wrist tattoos or ankle tattoos. I just cover them with Band-Aids. If a kid says something, you can just say you got a little cut or something like that. I think it's a lot easier than trying to explain that you got a tattoo. And then undergarments, I think definitely just getting some skin-colored leotards to cover them up. It sucks during the summer because it's so hot, but like I said, I would much rather have that than the makeup on my costumes. My one performer, Chicago Princess Robin, she wears a leotard that covers up her back tattoo, and then I think she puts a Band-Aid on the top because a little piece of it sticks out. But Band-Aids and leotards are definitely where I say to go, just because makeup near the costumes can be very dangerous. Where do I get my character shoes from? I get them from Amazon. I was in shows a lot before I did princess parties, and those character shoes that I would get for my shows, I would get from specialty dance shops. But I've learned that the ones on Amazon's are just the same. Some of them are the exact same brands. There are super duper expensive nice character shoes that you can get, but I would just recommend getting some cheaper ones. Do they sell nude shoes? Yes, they do sell nude shoes. So different companies have different forms of beige and tan and stuff like that. You can get black. However, I think the only character that black really works for is like Town Dress Ariel. So I would get beige. Beige works for all of them. You don't have to paint them. I just use the beige ones and then would put the bows on. Recently, I've ordered new character shoes, so I took my old ones and I painted them, and that's why I have painted ones. I have the 3-inch, so I think they were like $45, but there are some that are $30. They even have some gold sparkly ones and some silver sparkly ones that I know some performers that use, because you can use the silver for Cinderella and Elsa, and then you can use the gold for Belle, you can use the gold for Snow White. I always try to follow whatever shoes the parks uses. At first I just used tan character shoes and those worked perfectly, but then when kids were asking me to see my shoes and they were just tan character shoes, they were like, oh. So then I added the bow and now they're just obsessed with them. So I think just adding something small like a bow on there is just really simple way for the kids to just be obsessed. I usually wear between a 7.5 and 8, and my character shoes are an 8.5. So I would recommend ordering a size up. Like I said, I usually am a 7.5 and I ordered an 8.5 and they fit. And they do last a very long time. Non-Angel Secret high-end Elsa. Okay, I can't remember the name of the shop, but there is a shop on Etsy. Well, there's Neverbug, and Neverbug is great, and it's very expensive, and it takes a year to get here. I know that Brittany Ray Designs is working on an Elsa. She has her corset done, and it looks beautiful. So she's going to have her full costume done soon, and I'm assuming it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to look amazing. But there is a shop on Etsy. If you want to message me, I will be able to find it for you. I know a couple of people who use that costume for their company. So if you message me, I will be able to find that for you, probably just from a couple searches on Etsy, and I'll be able to send that to you. Brooch for her teal dress I get from Angel Secret. I've heard some people say that it has stained their dress. I've never had that experience, and I guess my response to that is, who cares there's a stain if it's being covered by a brooch? I think it's absolutely beautiful, and the Royal Enchantments earrings for Ariel match the Angel Secret brooch exactly. My shoe bows are not permanent. You can switch them out. I put clips on them, so you just clip them on your shoe, put your shoes on, take them right off, put the next clips on, and they're just hot glued on there. But yeah, you can just switch them between the shoe. I used to just use my beige shoes, and I would just clip them on and off. Where do you get your bloomers? Bloomers, I get them from a shop online called Frenzy Universe. If you just Google them, they have a lot of steampunk stuff. I do not think it's necessity for a newer company. Honestly, just focus on getting new wigs and getting new costumes, and I think bloomers are probably the last that you want to focus on. I always focus on wig first, then costume, then shoes, then undergarments. Even shoes, when I first started out, we would just wear red heels that we owned for Belle and stuff like that. People never really noticed or said anything about it. Make sure to at least wear some sort of short underneath them. Maybe just running shorts or dance shorts or something like that, just in case if the dress does spin and you can see up, that the kids don't see anything too revealing. I don't make specific Elsa shoe bows. I make Cinderella ones that are blue that would probably work for Elsa. Elsa does usually wear her blue shoes that have little spikes for ice on them. I know some people that sell those shoes on Etsy that look gorgeous. Or like I said, there is actually a character shoe on Amazon that is silver and sparkly. My performer Chicago Princess Robin has them, and they look gorgeous and they look great for Elsa. The Elsa shoes that I wear are a children's size 6 from Walmart, and I just think any silver shoe works for Elsa, or any blue shoe works for Elsa, but you can always use like a Cinderella shoe bow for her. I don't think kids have ever pulled on my earrings before. I have a lot of kids touching the brooch on Ariel, and I know a lot of kids are tactile learners, so what I always do is if I could tell they're distracted, I'll be like, oh, look at my gloves, or I'm like, oh, look at my brooch, and I'll specifically ask them to touch it because it kind of focuses them and pulls them in. But I don't think a kid has ever noticed my earrings. I think just because a lot of wigs cover that. If they're pulling on it, then it hurts, but I know that Royal Enchantments has clip-ons, so I use clip-ons, so even if a kid did pull on them, it would just come right off and it wouldn't really hurt at all. A lot of the Etsy sellers are international. I know that it's kind of hard because you have to pay extra, but Angel Secret is also international, and I'm pretty sure they're free shipping to lots of countries. I know that the one giveaway that we did, the girl that we gave it to was from Brazil, and they still shipped it to her for free. So if you want to look for Angel Secret, they have them too. I will talk about wigs next week, and it'll basically be the same thing that I talked about this week, the same thing, but just wigs. So like I said, moving forward, I'm going to do a lot of different topics. Feel free to message me if you think there are any topics that would be interesting. Next week, I'm doing wigs. Some other topics that I'm going to do makeup. I'm going to do singing. I'm going to do owning a company, stuff like that. So moving forward, message me your questions. I appreciate all of you guys so much for joining in. Thank you for answering questions that I wasn't able to answer fast enough. Thank you for asking the questions. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to continue doing this. It seems like it's helping you guys out a lot. I will even repeat some topics if it ever comes up. Thank you guys so much for making this such a success. I'm so glad to have been able to talk to all of you guys and answer all of your questions, and I can't wait to keep doing it in the future. Bye guys, have a great night.